Unfiltered. Like you're in another world, like you zoned out. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back to another installment of Unfiltered with Georgii Speakman, where today we're exploring the world of writing and being a self-published author with author Gallo herself, author, speaker, coach, and beautiful sound healer. So welcome to the show, author. How are you
Thank
today, my love? You look
you.
like a little angel floating in the blue sky. It's exactly what you are. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I want to kick off our dialogue today just by congratulating you for becoming a self-published author. I can relate to the journey myself as a author as well. I understand what it takes to accomplish that journey and how personalized, personal, intricate, and all the things that it is. And so I want to dive into your journey. You have quite the career and integrated ecosystem that you have intertwined into your book, making it more than just a book.
Yeah.
And you do make the claim this is not a self help book, it's reclamation, and you're still writing, which I just absolutely love. So, without further ado, tell us about this beautiful book, which I'm in the process of reading. Name it, believe it, and author it.
Thank you, Georgie. Well, again, thank you so much for having me. My book, Name It, Believe It, Author It, I have it right here. So
Yes.
everyone can see it. It's a woman's spiritual framework for truth, trust, and transformation. Um, it is a book that is a spiritual wellness book written in memoir format. And by
I
that,
love that author.
yeah, I just didn't want it to be like a regular memoir. I
Yeah.
wanted to really integrate my life's lessons into this book. And I think at the end of it, I just thought who else would benefit the most from this book? And I believed that, and I still believe that it's women. And so that's why this book, Women, is actually in the subtitle itself. So yeah, I hope you really like it.
I'm loving it so far. I'm loving learning about your journey and all the rest. Tell us a little bit more about who you are and what got you to the point of your journey. You spent time in Bali and your personal transformation. I mean, we're all on an ongoing journey. We know that. But you spent some time and also, spent some time at Harvard, securing certain qualifications as well to support a lot of the work that you do that again integrates into the book. So share with listeners today that might not be as familiar with you just yet. What defines you and what has your journey entailed that has led you to this point so far?
Yeah, I think it's two things. One is my name is author. I think it was like written in the stars,
Yes.
created by my mother and the divine that one day I would be an author. And it's something that I really just played off, like just as another, quirky conversation point. Never really thought about it. Um, Never once even said I was going to become an author. Now, in my professional life, I am a writer. I write tons of material for my
Mm-hmm.
clients. And so I've always written for myself, just never publicly and never published anything per se with my name on it. So I ended up here, one, because it's destined, right?
Yes, yes.
I mean, I felt like it was a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Mhm,
Like it just had to be done. Um, and then the second part is that what really led to me going down this path and even going through this process was really huge life changes. I'd spent
mhm,
like my entire life building a career, um, you know, worked with major clients, achieved a lot in my professional life. But then I was hit with suddenly I didn't have a job.
mhm,
No longer needed. I was put on administrative leave. And so it made me question everything. Like, what is this all about? I'm literally spending so much time per day on this. Who am I really? And what do I want? What do
mm,
I want to get from this? Um, and then, of course, relationship issues at the same crossroads. I'm
Mm,
dealing with a very complicated, complex relationship. And, the both of those things intersected. And then I decided what I really want is to start my personal journey of healing and growth. And I took it upon myself to just start authoring my life, not what my life, my job said I was, or not what a relationship said I was, not even who my parents said that I was.
mhm.
But really, I just wanted to say, who am I? Find out who I was, what I wanted, and the things that were really close to my heart. So that's how I got here.
Well, first of all, like again, like congratulations on the journey itself because it's a very confrontational one that requires a lot of emotional bandwidth and all the rest. A lot of people obviously avoid their journeys, but I do believe fervently that in life, the longer you avoid it, that the harder it's going to become, and you really have to confront yourself in life
Hmm.
sooner rather than later. Living by the whole premise, if you don't go within, you go without. And I feel like from what I've read so far and what I know about you, you've encapsulated that beautifully. How have you integrated a lot of the other sides of yourself, the sound healer in you, the business coach, all the rest that you've like integrated into the book and vice versa? And how did that sort of epiphany arrive that you wanted to go in that like direction specifically?
Yes, yes. Well, I've always known that I had this intuition that was constantly speaking to me, and I wanted to hear more of that voice. I
Cool.
wanted to figure out how I could tap into it, how it could make it speak to me more and louder than all the things. So I set on the journey, and that's why I decided to go to Bali because it seemed like a very spiritual place. I wanted to gain these modalities so that I could truly start taking care of myself, like mentally, spiritually, and listen to my intuition. I think as women, it is our one of our greatest gifts. We have many gifts, but I think it's one of our greatest gifts, and it has been suppressed and silenced, and we no longer hear it. And I just knew that that was something I just wanted to get back to at my core. Um, so I went to Bali to gain these new tools. I mentioned to you earlier, I really wanted to go about healing my body, healing my mind, healing my spiritual self. And so in my travels, I tried to do each one of those. So I learned modalities like breath work and sound healing. And of course, I've taken sound healing before. And really, these tools were just for me. It was really just for me to tap into my
Yeah.
intuition and hear it. And I just fell in love with it. I realized how much it heals people. It healed me. I mean, in terms of a lot of my traumas were addressed, a lot of the things I've been carrying in my life, I really left um, in that experience in Bali. I also went to an Ayurvedic wellness center, which I didn't know a lot about that medicine and how old it is, and really the things that I need to know about my body to not just know for knowledge, but also to heal myself. I
Mhm.
was a person who, for as long as I can remember, I jumped out of bed before the crack of dawn and I set on my path to do a 3-mile run or go for a workout, and really realizing what my body type was told me, hey, that's alternative to what you should be doing.
Yeah.
It naturally runs hot. You need things that are calming and relaxing. So the difference is now I start my mornings with a short meditation and some breath work.
I've got this thing that's like flying around the yeah. Um,
So now I start my mornings off with light meditation and breath work. So I've been able to incorporate a lot of the things, incorporate and integrate a lot of the things that I learned through my travel to Bali, through getting my certifications, as well as completing the Harvard wellness coaching program. So, yes.
Well, congratulations on being a Harvard graduate. These programs are amazing that they provide. I do want to correct you on one thing. Bali is nothing but a party destination for us crazy Australians. You must have come across lots of like crazy party driven Australians. Maybe you were off the grid to, up in Ubud, like doing all the things, but there's definitely a side to Bali. It's a little crazy, but no, it's a great destination for a lot of schooling and yoga, meditation, all the things. But I'm just messing with you. Did you
Yeah,
come across any wild Aussies?
did. On the plane, I met a lot of party goers. Locally, I was very, um, I incubated myself very well in my sanctuaries, in my environment. So, yeah, I kept my distance from that. But yeah, I heard you guys like to party for sure.
That is true. Although I'm off that game, now. Yeah. But yes, they are known for that. But I love that you invested in yourself and had the bravery and courage to confront everything head on. I think it's so important, no matter where we're at in the stage and phase of our journeys and healing, that we adopt as many viable healing modalities, whether it is sound bath stuff, meditation, Reiki, tapping, the list goes on. They're so important to have. So it's amazing that you have delved into that and really embodied it as part of the work that you do, but how you've written. So I personally took 9 months off. I want to talk about the actual writing journey here. I took 9 months off myself to write. I found that chipping away year after year was just like not helping or getting anywhere. I'm really keen to learn, and I'm sure listeners are keen to hear same, which is what was your schedule? What did your schedule look like? Were you writing from 5 to 8 a.m. Before anything else? Did you treat it as a full-time job like I did for 9 months? Yeah, how did you go about that? How did you manage your time? How did you manage yourself? And how did you also overcome the imposter syndrome to write the damn thing in the first place? Because I know that I personally had to battle that fairly frequently throughout the process. But to your point and your experience, I felt guided as well. And so I had this sort of like other, worldly, godly motivation to continue on and just knew that it was something I had to do at that time. But of course, is like not to say there weren't those, psychological interruptions.
Mhm, mhm. I think that's where we're the same, Georgie, and that's a really good question because ultimately I felt like it was something I had to do. I
Yes.
really didn't even want to do it, as I mentioned before, but it was something that I had to do.
Mm, mhm.
Um, and to go back a little bit further in the writing process, like I've never published a book before.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, let me reach out to some literary agents. I was connected with a few. The feedback that they gave me was not positive at all. And I still have that burning sensation. Well, it's going to happen anyway. And, and I'm going to do it anyway. So, um, and while great advice, none of that advice led to me expeditiously putting out something that I loved and that was still very close to my heart. I think one of the unique things about my book is that it is raw, and it's
Mm,
because we didn't go through the traditional publishing process. As
right.
you mentioned, I'm self-published. I use this organization called Spines. They work with authors one-on-one. Um, and I just felt like it was the best solution for me at the time
Yeah.
because I was working on other projects. So I really needed someone to hold me accountable. And Spines really did a great job at that.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. So in terms of my writing, though, you are not going to believe this when I tell you that I wrote the book in a very short amount of time. Um, I'm not gonna be, it's in the book, but I'm not gonna say how long it took me. Let's just say it was less than a month.
That's crazy. So I'm going to reserve one question that I have immediately off the back of that sort of statement, um, and jump over to the fact that your book, you said it yourself, is largely speaking to women, and is ultimately or mostly for a female audience, not to rule out anyone else, of course. um, in that whole experience and journey, I just feel like there are so many women that are aspiring to write books and to put themselves out there in that raw way, just as I did as well, where it was like, okay, this is confronting, but I've got to do this, and I'm just going to do it on my own terms. And funny, because I too reached out to some publishers that were like, well, if we take you on board, it could take 2 to 3 years, based on our like our calendar to even put you out. And I was like, oh hell no, I'm not waiting around for this. I'm just going to do it myself. So high five to us to start.
Yes, high five.
High five, seriously. But like I think the nuts and bolts of what you're describing is great for a female audience to understand on how they can attack the project. But how did you manage? Like, what were some of the tools and tactics that you used to be able to write in such a short period of time? And yeah, how did you manage to carve out that time and all the rest? I know you obviously said that you're on like not leave, administrative leave.
Yes.
So just for all the aspiring female writers out there that want to find the courage to get started, what else would you share with them?
Yeah. Well, because mine is memoir, it's true. It's very truthful. So in my personal life, for journaling or writing down my thoughts or whatever, I use several different mediums.
Mm,
I use a lot of different things. As a matter of fact, I have like little notebooks all over the place in my house where when I have a thought, I just like write it down.
awesome.
Um, in this situation, this was a download for me
Mm,
from
mm,
so literally every step of my process was guided. Like, and I just listened. I was in a place where I could really listen. So when I kind of mapped it out, I then start recalling all of those formats of data that I had written in random notebooks and phone notebooks, whatever. Um, and I started pulling those things in, right?
mhm,
So I figured out like what's the framework? What am I doing here? There were certain things that um really stood out, like my proprietary framework, which is Name It, Believe It, Author, which oversets with the mind body spirit triangle overlaps. And so those messages were very, very clear to me. So I knew that that information had to be in there. So once I got that download is also when I said, well, maybe to make sure I'm not right, but I'm on the right path, I signed up for the Harvard Lifestyle and Wellness Program, right? To say, well, I'm trying to tell people how to make their lives better, especially women. Let me make sure like I'm on the right path. So
mhm.
my writing process was very unique to me, I think, just because it was so guided. It was so guided, like where I literally did not have to pull anything. It wasn't a tug of war. It just literally flowed out of me.
Yeah,
And I
understood.
remember the very last day, I was like trying to figure out the closing and I couldn't figure it out. And I woke up maybe about 4 a.m. and I watched the sunrise. And then if you're in Miami, there are cranes all over the place, right? And this lends to the concept of still writing. And that was the end of kind of the ending of the book, where we're talking about the significance of rebuilding, but
Mm,
rebuilding more intentionally and rebuilding more authentically to what it is that you want for your life. not what
Mhm.
somebody else wants for your life or how they define it. So my writing process was very different.
I mean, I love that. I mean, I guess at the end of the day, obviously everybody's journey and process is different. I mean, all I knew personally was I wanted to write a book. I always knew that. I first had the idea back in like 2012. I had attempted to make journal entries, and a bit like yourself, done lots of different journal entries over the years. Tried to chip away at the book, but was constantly met with life interferences.
Mhm.
So I had started doing like 8 to 12 and then doing consulting work from 12 onwards. And then I was just like, okay, no, I'm just going to dive in and really take the time to connect. And so I think, long story short, everyone's journey is obviously going to be different. But
Yes.
I did mention this, and you've got to find your way naturally, but find a
Mhm.
system and process and whatever that works for you. But um, I touched on this before, which is the imposter syndrome. I'm curious, did you ever come face to face with that voice, with that imposter syndrome? Because I know I did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember hearing so vividly, oh, author, nobody wants to hear your story.
Right, right,
Like,
right.
like no one's gonna read your
Read
book.
it, yeah,
That like that kind of
yeah,
thing. And I remember working with someone once who said those exact words to me in that like you're not important, like no one cares. Like, and I just always been like, wow, like I want to care. I want to know what. So it was like, yes, to answer your question, yes, the imposter syndrome came, but luckily I was just back from Bali and it was easy for me to push those thoughts away
yes.
quickly. And once I did, I never heard from them again.
Oh, I love that. I never heard from you again. I feel like at all. No, that's amazing. I love that. I'm trying to think. So when I had imposter syndrome, I turned to editing instead.
Mhm.
So if I wasn't really feeling it on a day that I'd set out to write and really have a crack or like start a new chapter or something like that, I just turned to editing, and that way I didn't have to fit dive in that way. Um,
But
so
can,
I
but can we talk about not just the imposter syndrome, but how about the people closest to you
Mhm.
who take on the voice of the imposter syndrome? You
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that was,
Yeah.
I think that was more difficult for
Yes.
me than anything,
Yes.
I am like, wow, I thought these people loved me. I thought they cared
Yeah.
about me. You just, if someone said that to me, I'd be, wow, that's great. Yes, write a book. And just to experience people with their projecting their fears upon me was very challenging. But just like, the imposter syndrome, I pushed those thoughts away too.
No, 1,000%. I mean, I got a call from I know a family member that was, yelling and screaming at me about the first chapter, like it was too raw, too vulnerable, exposing, the family, blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, to you said it earlier, like I'm still going to do it. Like no one's going to stop me. This is my journey. This is my voice. I'm not
Yes.
saying anything overly compromising for anyone, but this is a raw, vulnerable story, and so it has to be told in a certain way and certain voice. And
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like, we're all guilty of it. Like, we can all do it, which is project our fears onto others. But I think you really, and again, like, this comes back to my congratulations to you and why I wanted to talk to you today. Like, congratulations for having the courage and bravery, because that's the biggest. Most people spend their lives thinking about all the things and thinking about going to Bali to do a yoga retreat or course or this or that, or dreaming about going to Harvard, or like writing this bloody book that they have sitting in their heart, soul, mind, and you did it. And so that's like the biggest thing that we've all got to overcome. It's almost like you got to just say shut up to any and all negative thoughts, whether they're coming from you or someone else, and just keep on with the journey.
Absolutely.
um and so actually I'm curious, because this podcast does cover AI as well. Um, where do you see this world of self-publishing and writing and the journey into that world now with, 'cause, with the opportunity of leveraging and utilizing AI? I didn't
Mhm.
use AI. I couldn't, because mine was a very raw memoir. So that's why it took me so long. Um, and I mused over the chapters and every word over and over again. It's still highly imperfect, but never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the future of writing and finding being able to author your true, authentic voice in the utilization of AI and all the rest, and how it can serve potentially as a tool um, to still support you in your writer's journey.
Right, right. I think overall there is a place for AI, not in the necessarily writing
Hmm.
process, certainly in the editing phase of
Hmm.
things. Because if you have a, you know, let's say 400-page book and you want to move things along, something like AI is great, but AI can also be incorrect all the
Oh
time
yeah, yeah, yeah,
all the
definitely.
time.
Yeah,
So, I mean, even in, let's say, someone who's using AI professionally as well, you still have to check the work. There still has to be a human element. There still has to be someone who truly understands the story and can comprehend the story and tell the story in a way that truly readers want to hear it. And so I think that's the biggest piece. I mean, AI is fine, but AI with the use of people is 100% like necessary, I feel, in the writing world. So I truly believe too that if you have a true story, you're the only one who can tell it. So
yes.
AI cannot tell your story
Exactly,
for
yeah, yeah.
I
I don't
cannot tell you how you felt at that moment. AI cannot tell you, what you were thinking at that moment. So,
right.
you know, um, true stories are only I think only the people who experience them can really tell them. AI can't
Mhm,
do it for them. So,
mhm. Yes,
but editing, go for it. Like, why not?
yeah. I don't think ChatGPT even existed when I was writing my book, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway because it was so nuanced. But no, I love that. So what I know you've got an event coming up in New Orleans as part of
Yes.
Essence Festival. So I'd love for you to share with the any listener today, more about that and what your hopes are for your future, the future of the book, and how you plan on continuing to integrate all of your beautiful work together.
Thank you, Georgie. Great question. Yes, we're so excited to have a very interesting event. Actually, it's going to be a book signing slash jazz music slash sound bath. So it's going to be this amazing experience. My nephew, Deuce Brown, will be playing jazz. He's such a talented young man. And I will be playing the sound bowls in this beautiful restored church in New Orleans at the Peter and Paul Hotel. So it is going to be fantastic because I will have the opportunity to have my friends, my family, people that I know there. But most importantly, the event is for the community. So we are inviting New Orleanians to come into the room and share this space with us. Going forward, I can't imagine just having a regular old book signing. So this is my take on what I would like the rest of the book tour to look like.
Yeah.
Really finding a sacred space to bring in the community, to have a sound bath, something of healing, and some kind of local artistry in the room and present. So that's what I am planning going forward. First stop, New Orleans. And, I'm sorry you can't be there, but would love you to come, but it's okay. But maybe next stop, Atlanta. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Lots I mean, you just carried on. I think that's the beauty of what you've done in, like, integrating the broader spectrum of what you do. You can find loads of ongoing places and spaces to show up, and, you've been an inspiration to me, motivated me to get it together. I just don't know where the hell I'm gonna find the time. there's always too much going on, but that's another story. Whilst we've got a few more minutes here left in our conversation today, did you have any final thoughts, words of wisdom, or gems that you wanted to impart for the listeners?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing. I think this is my first official podcast, so thank you so much for
Yes.
having me. Um, it's been an amazing experience, and it will continue to be an amazing experience. And like I said before, I'm still writing. I invite all of your listeners to write their own stories. Your
Mm.
story is waiting. Go ahead
Mm.
and write it.
Yes, it's so true. And, do you have a second book that you're already thinking about? I'm curious to hear that because I've been,
I have a few in the pipeline.
yeah,
I do want to sit with this,
yeah.
think a little bit. Um, yeah, but through my coaching business, I will be putting out some free elements that people can reference, I think, which would be really good. Um, but yeah, we're just continuing to do more things. I heard you when you said, I don't know where I'm going to find the time. And that is true for me too. And the only thing I can remember is like, do the things that bring you joy. And this brings me joy. So I'll continue.
Oh, I love that. I love that. There's a lot of things that bring me joy. I'm just gonna maybe, I don't know, compromise a few to, I don't know. Anyway. But what a pleasure speaking with you today. Beautiful. Thank you for imparting your knowledge, insight, wisdom, and just sharing your journey. I think we all can learn from one another at all times in all ways. So I look forward to seeing more of the activities surrounding the book and definitely wish you all the best with the up and coming event in New Orleans. What an amazing city. I
Yeah.
hope to make it, but we'll have to see. And I otherwise appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Georgie.
Unfiltered. Different, like you're in another world, like you zone out.